just to know what to do at the end of the semester. It's like so it'll be a big part of your grade. So first, I will explain a few things before you get to show you how you can go about coming with the numbers. I uploaded a template, Excel template to Canvas that you can use to come up with, like, calculate your cells and stuff like that. We'll get there. So the group project has a few parts. The first one, it is like you can work with somebody or you just work by yourself. So given the situation or the circumstances we are in right now, if you cannot work with anybody else, you do it by yourself. So it's like a business proposal. So you have to come up with idea, and then you have to come up with the business name, and you have to have a legal form. You have to apply everything we studied in this class in the math business. So you have to give a name, what legal form you're going to choose, the location of your business. Job, the business description is you have to give up this business model from the beginning of your the process of your business, from the delivery, from the either producing or selling product, all the way till the end. What value you are creating for customers, you have to describe in detail how you create value here. So nobody will buy from your product if you are not delivering value for them. So anybody will buy a product from you, he will ask, what is in for me? How you can make my life easier? How you add value to my life? So every time you come up with a business idea, you have to think about two things. Either you are fixing a problem, you fix a problem, or you are making life better for people. Okay, so that's how people think about doing business. So if I come up with a product or service, I have to answer a question: how this makes people's life? What is the value? What is the value proposition for people? Either you have a problem, existing problem, and trying to solve it, or there is a service but is not efficient. I'm going to give you, like as mentioned in class, Uber is a good example. So before Uber, we had a cab business. But look at how long it takes you to get a cab. You have to call, for example, if you want to travel, you have to go to the airport, you have to call at night ahead of your departure, and then you have to have an appointment, and you wake up in the morning and you're worried if the cab will come or not. So now with Uber, you just click a button and you know where the car is coming from and how long it take you to get to your place. So you have all this freedom not to do all this activity. So it makes your life much easier. So that's the value proposition. Then you can look at study your target customer. You have to give a profile for a customer that go and use your product. You might use age, gender, ethnicity, who is going to buy your product. So if for example, if I say this product is for women, I have to give me example, detail why you think women is your target customer. So is the income level, age. So all this stuff, when you build the profile of your customer, it's been much easier for you to find where they are, and you can target them and you can advertise for them. Okay, and the other stuff is just more technical stuff. You see how many employees you will have in your business. So I will see you have to build like payroll table that you show how many people you have. You have to calculate social security taxes and Medicare taxes as deductions. So it's very important also to do that. And then what do you do? A little bit analysis. You answer the question: what makes your business unique, and what makes you think the business will be successful? You have to do some like SWOT analysis. You have to look for your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. So you have to look what makes you special, what makes you different in the market, what is the strength, what makes your product more desirable, and what is the weaknesses. You will have some weaknesses, and what is the opportunities and threats. That's very important to do all this analysis. To understand all this stuff, you have to look at the industry. Go to the industry. That's, for example, if I am starting a restaurant, I go to the food industry, for example, and see what is the size of the industry. Is it big? Is it small? What is the size of the sale, annual sales, for example? What is the percentage of the profit in the business? Is there a place for me to get in or not? Depends. And also you look at who are the main competitors in the market. See, you have to understand what their value, what they are giving. Then so you can find your threats and your opportunities in this situation. And then how you make yourself strong. And if you have any weaknesses, you have to deal with them. So you have to understand your, okay. So your competitors' position for how they make their place in the marketplace, basically. What value they bring to the market. So that's your competitors. And what are their strength and what are their weaknesses? So this is very important. You have to deal with in your business proposal. And the other stuff is just, we're going to talk about the calculations, and then we'll show you how you build a template in Excel, and then you do some calculations. You can project your sales and your profit, cost, and the expenses. So we talked about how you build the income statement. We can do that as using a real life example based on your business idea. So you need a fund also. So you have to figure out, for example, when we do the calculations, we will figure out how much money you need to do your business. And you see how much you can contribute and how much you have to borrow from other banks. Most of the time when you start business, you will need a lot of funds. Either you have to go to your family or friends or bank to borrow money. And then we will do forecasting our sales and costs. We're going to do all this stuff. So that's the proposal. So please, you have to follow this format, and be sure that if you have any questions, please let me know. Now we're going to go and share with you the template, Excel template that you can use to do all these calculations. We're going to do calculations for sales, cost, expenses. We look at the depreciation. We look at the tax calculations. We talk also at interest expenses. So I'm going to share with you this template that I built for this project. So let's look at that. See, here is a template. It's monthly sales projections with expenses, assuming that the projection will be for 12 months, starting from January 2021 and goes all the way to December 2021. So you have one part for sales, you have cost of goods sold, and you have operating expenses. So you know the difference. Sales is the total unit sold times the price. Okay, the cost of goods sold, how much it costs you to buy the product. If you are buying a product for like wholesales, you have a cost per unit, and then you sell, like for example here, you sell for $2 and it costs you $1 to buy it, means you have what is gross profit of $2. So now we have to find the total sales, which is total units times the price, and the total cost of goods sold will be number of units sold times the cost per unit, and gross profit is equals to total sales in yellow minus total cost of goods sold in red, give us gross profit. Gross profit margin, which is a percentage, will be total the gross profit divided by total sales. That's a 50%. What does that mean? It means for every dollar of sales, I will keep as gross profit of $1. Means I will spend $1 for cost of goods sold. I will buy a unit for $2 and I will pay $1 for cost. I will keep a gross profit of $1. That's 50%. So now, so also you're gonna have to make some assumptions about your growth year month over month. So you have some numbers here. You might keep them if you think that's not a reasonable number for you. If you think your business will grow more than this, you can change it. And then you come back here. So if I have sales growth, I can calculate how much I will sell. If I knew the sales in the previous month, I can calculate the sales for this month. So equals, so the sales from previous month times 1 plus growth. Okay, so if I sold 20,000 units in January, or I will sell 20,400 in February. Why? Because I have 2% growth in my sales. And then I will just copy this formula, and I don't have to do it over again. I just copy. If you have using PC, you do Control C. If you as in Mac, you do Command C. And then when you copy it, you'll see this highlight in the cell. And then you do Shift, and you go with arrow to the right all the way to the end and do Command V or Control V. So that's it. So now, anytime I change the growth, I don't have to do the calculations again. So if I do 4%, for example, so we do the calculations for me again. So if I change this, for example, 4%, you can see the numbers are changing because I link the cells. That's make it very efficient in the calculations. So also we can do the same things for cost of goods sold. I will just do, sales first. So we'll do sales equals total units sold times the price. Then I will just copy Command C if you are using Mac, or Control C if you're using PC, and you copy and do Shift. You put your finger on Shift and you click the arrow all the way to the end and you do Command V. So now if I change the prices, I don't have to change the calculations. I can change, for example, let's say I put here $3, so it calculates by itself. So that's why it is good to link all the cells. Now the same things for the cost of goods sold equals the cost per unit times how much it costs me total unit of units sold. Okay, so if I bought each unit for $1 and I sold 20, cost of goods sold will be 20,000. Then the same things I do Command C or Control C for PC, and then I will go all the way down, and then I will do Command V or Control V to. So remember, Control, it's the same thing for a PC. It's the same thing as Command for Apple Mac. So now if I change the price, for example, 1, I don't have to do any calculations. It will be done by itself. It will change itself. Now, all gross profit equals total sales minus total cost of goods sold. That's gross profit. And I will copy this formula all the way down. So Command C, remember, for copying a cell, or Control C if you have a PC. And then I will do Shift. Yeah, I keep my finger on Shift and go all the way down. And then I would do Command V. That's it. Now, gross profit margin will be equal to the gross profit divided by total sales. So, and then 66.7% means for every dollar sell, I will keep, after I deduct the cost of goods sold, how much it costs me either to make the product or to buy it, I will keep 66 cents of it, almost 67 cents. So I'll just copy all the way down, and then I will do the same thing. Okay, that's good. So now remember, cost of goods sold represent how much you bought a product. If you are a merchandise, you selling a product, it means you buy them wholesale and sell them. So the cost of goods sold, how much you bought it from wholesale. Sometime you make the product, and the cost of goods sold represent how long how much it takes you, or what is the cost of making the product. So let's assume I'm selling tables, for example. So to make a table, I need cost of goods sold. I'm not going to go in detail for accounting because it's business math. I'm just going to say I need the material to make the table, and I need labor to make the table. Okay, so that's the cost of goods sold. But there's other expenses, we call them operating expenses. It has nothing to do with making a product. It has to do with managing the product. So for example, phone in the office, the manager of the office, that's all the things that involved in running the business, but it has nothing to do with making the product itself. So for example, you have insurance for a car, is not involved in making the product, but it's very important for the business. The office where your manager stays and stuff like that. So that's very important. Salary for people like secretary and stuff like that. That's called them operating expenses. They are important to making the product. Okay, we're gonna go back and calculate all this stuff, but for now you have to know we have sales, cost of goods sold, we have gross profit and gross profit margin. Now I linked everything. If I change the cost of goods sold, so for example I put 5, you can see everything will change. I don't have to do anything. So you have a negative. Okay, so but I will do, for example, like 6. You can see 16.7%. Okay, so now I linked all this stuff. And that's now we'll go back and look at the depreciation, because we have to calculate depreciation. I have the table here to calculate depreciation. So what we're going to use here, what's called straight method depreciation. We're going to assume at the useful life of so when I buy a machine, I have in mind how long this life will last. That's called useful life. So you buy the machine for cost, then you have to sell it at the end when you're done. After 5 years, when you use it for 5 years, you're going to sell it. That's called residual or salvage value, residual value or salvage value. A depreciated value equals how much I bought a machine for minus the residual value. So what does that mean? So if I bought the car for 40,000 and I will sell it at the end for 20,000, basically I'm saying that how much I want to spend in how much I will use this car for is 20,000. Okay, so and then I have to use this as expense because I use this car in my business, and anything I use equipment, I have to allocation of the depreciation over a period of time. You cannot use all this depreciation for one period of time, 1 month or 1 year, but you want to use it over the life of the item. So that's called useful life. So we're going to take this 20,000, we divide it by 5, will give us the annual depreciation. So it means every year I have to expense 4,000. The problem here, we don't need annual depreciation because our sheet here, which is the projection, it's monthly. We don't need annual, we have to calculate monthly. So it's called monthly depreciation, okay? We need to have the monthly depreciation. So what are we gonna do? How many months in a year is 12? We'll do 4,000 divided by 12, give us this. Same thing if you buy a carpet, for example, for your business, the cost is 12,000, the residual value is 4,000. I'm going to buy it for 12,000, but I use it for a period of time. I will sell it for 4,000. Means my depreciated value, it's like I spend in total 12,000 minus 4,000 will be 8,000. I'm going to use it for life of 5 years. And then I have to divide all this stuff, all this depreciated value over the period of 10 years. Okay. So that's 8,000. 800 for it. So, sorry, 8,000 divided by 10, 800. So then I'm doing the calculations over a period of month. I have to divide this by 12. It give me 66.66. So I'm just going to change a little bit the format so I can just put the, it's just less. I'm going to change the format of the cells, just 2 decimals. Okay, so general numbers, let's just do 2 decimals. I click OK, let's give me 2 decimals. Okay, no, good. Now the same things for furniture, the cost minus residual value equals 1,500 divided the life of 3 years, 500, but I need to divide it by 12 to give me monthly. So remember, equipment, so how do you come up with the cost? That question that many people may ask. Well, if I are buying a car, it's easy to go online and find all these prices. How much it costs to buy a new car, carpet, furniture, that's easy to find. The problem is with the residual value. How much I think I will sell my car 5 years from now. That's a little bit guessing game, but you have to be a reasonable guess. You cannot just make whatever you want. You can look online how much, like for example, car that has 5 years useful, worked for 5 years, how much would go for. But it doesn't have to be exact number. You make your best educated guess. Same things for carpet and furniture. You can just go online. You can try to figure out how much you can sell them for after you'll be used for a specific period of time. Now I have total depreciation here. Okay. Remember this, the total depreciation. So now I will just link this cell to the first spreadsheet I have here. So I go to depreciation. I'll look at the line for depreciation and do equal. And then I go, okay, depreciation is right here. Okay, so anytime I change anything in this table, will automatically change it also in this table. Remember, 441.67. I'm just going to go and change, for example, the life of the item. So let's say I change this 5. Okay. Say for, let's say 10 years, so 275. So look what happened in this shell, 275. So I don't have, that makes it a lot more clear. You don't have to make a lot of mistakes because everything is linked. This is one method using life of the item. You can use also total units produced as method of calculations. There are a lot of methods you can use for depreciation in accounting, but for business, business, we can just use direct, straight method using useful life, or you can use the total units produced. When I have a car, I bought it for 40,000 and I will sell 40,000. That's the value of depreciation is the same, but I'm going to use it based on how many mileage I'm thinking I'm going to drive over the 10 years, for example. So I'll say 50,000. So every mile, the car will be depreciated by 40 cents. And then I see how many miles I drove at the end of the month. So if it's 1,000 times miles, depreciation per mile, give me 1,000. I can do the same thing for a machine. For example, if I'm producing goods and services, I'm producing good, I use machines to produce. I bought a machine for 1 million. I'm going to sell it for 200,000 at the end of its life. And depreciation value will be 1 million. So equals to, say it's the same method as above, will be the cost minus residual value or salvage value. Then I see how many units I'm going to produce. Let's say 80,000 units. Means that's for every unit I will produce, I have a depreciation expense of 10. So if I produce, for example, 15,000 units, that's easy to do. I just do equal to number of units produced in a month times 10. Okay, so that's the depreciation method. There is double decline method. For example, if like I'm assuming that the machine will lose more value in the beginning of its use, and then instead of doing like, for example, divided by 1 over 10 is 10%, I will just do 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20% at every. But the difference between, I'm not going to get there because it's accounting questions, not math business. I just want you to use this. There's a different method for depreciation. The funds. So for example, when I figure out how much, I'm just going to clear all this stuff. Let's clear all this stuff so I can show you how that works. So let's say I figured out how much money I need to start a business. And I always like buying a house. Then I say, okay, I will put down, I have a cash, I can put 20,000, it means I have to borrow 80,000. So the interest rate is 10%. That's annual rate. You have to remember, annual rate. So, but for me, the payment I'm going to pay every month because my schedule is it's called the amortization schedule for a loan. When I borrow money, I want to pay every month. So at the end of the 12th month, I will pay off my loan. So what do you say? I borrowed 80,000. The interest rate equals the 10% divided by 12 because my payment is compounded to monthly. Remember when we did time value of money? The number of periods is not number of years, it's a number of compounding periods. So we have 1 year, but it's compounded monthly, so we have n equals 12. The interest equals 10 divided by 12. Okay, so now I have to calculate, remember, and the payment of a loan is at the end of the period, paying at the end of the period, at the end of the month, that's annuity. You remember, every time you have equal payment over a period of times, that's called annuity. Then you ask yourself, it's annuity, is it annuity due or ordinary annuity? Annuity due, it's at the beginning of the month. Ordinary annuity at the end of the month. For our purpose here, the payment will be at the end of each month. So we have to calculate the payment equal PMT. So you see, the rate is a monthly rate, N is 12 month. The present value will be the loan. The future value will be 0. Why? Because at the end of the 12 months, you're going to pay off the loan. And then we say it's at the end, it's annuity due. And that's basically it. Will tell us how much payment every month. So every month, I'm going to pay $7,033.27. Why? I will pay, we'll see, part of this $7,033, it's the interest because the bank will charge me the interest. And part of it, I want to pay down the carrying value of my loan. So all the payment will be equal to 7,000. So every month I will pay the same amount. Every month I want to pay the same amount, which is $7,033.27. See? So now, because it's annuity, so you just can copy this cell, just do Control C or Command C, and then go all the way down. It will be the same payments. Okay, all the way down. So I'm going to, so that's how much I'm going to pay, but I have to calculate the interest. The interest is equals the carrying value, how much I started with, times the interest. So I paid 7,033. The bank says, well, only 666 is interest. And then I say, okay, take 666 and apply the rest to the loan, bring the loan down. So that's what it is. So we'll do the payment minus the interest. Because then when I'm going to do it, they want to apply the difference to my loan. They will bring my loan down. The same thing for the second month. So we'll do, okay, how much now is my loan? Is this amount, which is 73,663 times the interest for the month. And then I'll ask the difference will be applied, which is the payment to the principal minus the interest. And I'm going to apply the difference to my loan. I'm bringing my loan down, okay? So you can see at the end, I will pay off my loan. You will see here at the yellow cell will be that my loan will paid off will be equal to 0. So that's how normally I will do it. So I'm not going to do it all the way down. So I will fix this cell, which is the interest, and I will ask to anytime I do the calculations to multiply it by the interest for the second line. Okay. So let's do this. And then copy, and then I'll go all the way down. See, I will stop at the 12 month. Look at this. So the balance at the end will be 0. So I paid my loan and I paid also the interest. So now every cell has to be linked to each month. So for example, I go here. So the first month, the interest expenses will be equal to, and then I will just go back to my fund table, say, okay, this is my interest expenses. I'm not going to use this because this is just paying back the amount I borrowed from the bank. It has nothing to do with any expenses. I will do it for the same things for this month. I will do it, the second month will be the same thing. Third month, there is a different way you can do all these calculations as well. You can use what is called straight line amortization. It's like the depreciation, it's the same thing. So I borrowed 80,000. The payment is 7,000. So if I borrowed 80,000 and my payment every month is 7,033.27, I paid every month this amount. So how much total I paid? It will be equal to 7,000 times 12. This is how much total I paid. So I borrowed 80,000. Okay. This is how much I borrowed from the bank. But when I paid this amount, which is 84,000. The difference between the two is the cost of borrowing, which is the interest. So it will be equal to 84,000 to 300, let's get 400 minus the 80,000 I borrowed. The difference is how much it cost me to borrow this amount. It's called the interest. The interest is the cost of borrowing. So now this is for the whole year because I have paid this at the end I paid this. It's for 12 months. So it means I have to calculate for each month how much the interest expenses. This is divided by 12 basically. Means every month it cost me $366.60 for each month. Means each month I will pay the same amount. But in accounting classes, this is more correct to do because you're taking in consideration time value of money. Here, you are assuming the interest is the same all over a month over month, okay? So then I will just go here to the interest. Instead of having the different numbers, I just do equal, and I will link it to the fund interest rate, and that's it. Then I will copy all this down, just copy, and then I will put it all the way down, see? And then I will see it's just copy the value, don't put the formula, and that's it. So now we did the calculations. Now next time we'll do the calculations for salary, and then we will, other expenses like advertising, you have to make your good guess. What do you think, how much you're gonna spend in salary, utilities, entertainment, insurance. If you have a line that you don't wanna use, so for example, I say, I'm not going to use any entertainment, for example, or traveling and accommodation. My business will not deal with this. I just like select it, click here, and then I go in the top here, all the way to the right, look here to the right with my mouse, and that's, I'm going to show you what it is. So I want you to look up here. Look here, so you can see this will show you. So right here, so like here, so you see I can delete. I just click delete, will take off that line. So you can go through all these expenses. We call them operating expenses. We can go through them and see which one you will not use and delete them. Okay, so that's it for today. We can finish this class next time. And I hope you will be able to fill all this stuff. So first you will have to, we're going to talk about the payroll taxes next class. We're going to talk about how much Social Security, Medicare, federal income, unemployment insurance, like FUTA, and the state taxes at SUTA. That's it. So for example, you will have workers that works for you for a annual salary, but you have to pay them either weekly or 2 times a week, 2 times a month, or every 2 weeks. But also you have to deduct Social Security and Medicare before you pay them. It's net payment, net pay. But also we have to take into consideration federal income tax, federal unemployment insurance, and state unemployment insurance. And if you have any like unions, if they contribute to the insurance, we will call them, we will take into consideration all deductions. So we have to look at salary, wages, we look at hourly wages, we talk about commission. wages. We're gonna fill this, and then we'll go at the end, fill salary expenses. Okay, so have a great day, and I will see you next class. Thank you.